Welcome into our overtime segment here at SportsSource.tv. We appreciate you joining us. This segment brought to you by Blue Smoke Cigar and Smokin' Joe's, we've told you about for many, many years. Our show's been around since 2003. They've been a part of the Sports Source since 2004. That's getting a ways back there now. Smokin' Joe's, they have the store in Alcoa, beautiful walk-in humidor. They have their newest venture, which is in West Knoxville, right at South Peters Drive, across from Rafferty's. It's called Blue Smoke Cigar. It is a club. It's a membership type deal. If you go there, you can still go into their great walk-in humidor, leather seats and everything. You can do that. But if you buy the membership, you get all the perks. You get the wall of televisions in the back room. You get all the multiple leather seatings. You get card tables. You get the golf games. It's a great place for meetings. If you got guys who just want to do a meeting away from the office and smoke a couple of cigars while you do it, Blue Smoke Cigar, check it out. Trust me, check it out. You'll like it. Want to welcome in these three guys. I like them. Well, at least two of them. Just kidding. Mike Griffith down there from SECCountry.com. We appreciate you being with us. Vince Ferrara back with us from WNML, Sports Radio WNML. Good to have you here. Mark Pankratz, of course, our basketball analyst and former D1 basketball player, former D1 basketball coach at Tennessee. All right. Chuck Cavaleris couldn't be with us today. He's over in South Carolina. Yeah, he's working hard at Myrtle Beach, I'm sure. Right about now, he's waking up on the beach, is my guess. He sent in a question, though. He said, hey, do this as one of your quick hitters. I thought, yeah, this would be okay for the overtime segment because I can juice it up to where maybe we can make it seesaw back and forth. So here's the question. Better to lose by 10 or more in the first round. And let me just say, an embarrassing loss in the first round, okay? Let me try and juice this a little. Better to lose in embarrassing fashion in the first round of the NCAA tournament or win 4 games and reach the Final Four Madison Square Garden of the NIT. I'm going to start down there and work our way to the basketball coach.
Better for who, though, John? That's my question.
Better for Tennessee. Better
fans,
for
players,
Oh, not
coach.
for fans. Let's start with the team, the actual program.
Okay. I would say the Madison Square Garden trip would be better for the players because of the extra games, the development, different competitions, the experience, and traveling to New York City. Now, if you just ask NIT versus NCAA, unless you get to Madison Square Garden, in my opinion,
right,
based on the teams I've covered, I don't think is beneficial. But going to Madison Square Garden, it's a destination and it's an experience that these players can draw on. Otherwise, I say the tournament because there's something to go into an NCAA tournament too, in those open locker rooms, the setting, the timing, the practices. So. But I'm going with MSG over a blowout in the first
There's
round.
also, if we're talking about the overall program, there's also the recruiting aspect of being able to say, we made the big dance last year. So that's in there as well. Vince Ferrara, which is better, embarrassing first-round loss in the NCAA tournament or making it to the Final Four of the NIT, which no one wants to go to?
Losing in the NCAA tournament. I mean, embarrassing is something you never want. But there is a lot to the recruiting aspect of it that you mentioned. I think that's a huge benefit. I think it shows the progress of Rick Barnes in this program. It's something that the fan base, I think, needs because not everyone's on board. But I think for the experience, the pressure that's there, and feeling good about the direction of your program, I'll take that over some wins over lesser competition in the NIT tournament.
Okay. Basketball coach, where are you going?
No doubt about it, NCAA tournament. Mike, you traveled with us sometimes. We had guys go to the Rome Coliseum that weren't excited, that rather be sitting there playing video games in their hotel, let alone
You're talking about literally Rome, Italy.
Literally on a foreign trip to the Coliseum that rather be in their hotel playing video games. So Madison Square Garden is pretty cool, but the players, the other side of it is an ego check. I've been there. I've played on NIT teams and I've played on NCAA teams. It is an ego check when everybody else is filling out their brackets and they're talking about it. They're talking about Selection Sunday and nobody talking about the NIT. Then it's even more of an ego check. You go to Madison Square Garden and nobody's talking about that. No one's talking about the Madison Square Garden. You're there. You're in the Final Four, and people are talking about the NCAA tournament. They don't even know that you're in it.
Well, but here's the other point.
Let's stay on the wide shot here for a second. Yeah,
if you're Rick Barnes and we're talking expectations, you are taking a step by going to the NIT. So then if you go to the NCAA the next year, that's progress. If you make the NCAA tournament, and then you better make it every year after that or you're going backwards.
That's, here's the thing. At some point, if you're a coach, and I don't know if he's ever going to be on the hot seat here. He may be at the point where he can just say, I'm out. No, I'm saying from his perspective, he may be able to say, oh, you're going to give me crap? See ya. He's in a position where he could do that if he wanted to. But in terms of the fan base, I think you could lose either way. Eventually, they're going to say, well, he's not made the NCAA tournament. Okay, now you're right. If you make it, they want you to make it next year. But that's a feather in your cap. If you were picked for 13th in the SEC this year, and instead you made the NCAA tournament, that's strong. I think it immediately gets washed out, at least for a week or two, if you then go and get embarrassed, because then people get mad. Instead, even though you made it, you're excited. Oh, they've overachieved, and then you go get bombed. What was it? In 98 or 99, Steve Alford and Southwest Missouri State beat them by 30 in the NCAA tournament first round. Mike, were you covering that one? Were you here then?
I wasn't there yet.
Okay. Yeah, Southwest Missouri State. I think Alford was the coach then. I think that was actually John Ward's last game. Like his last football game was the national championship. His last basketball game was that abomination. But if you make the tournament, hooray, you get bombed by 30 points to Robert Morris unexpectedly, they're going to want your head on a platter.
Well, but I also think if you're first of all, to get to the Final Four, you got to win a whole bunch of games, which might not happen.
Oh, in the NIT, you mean?
In the NIT, but
yeah.
But the other part about it is, if you make the NIT, how many people here in town are just kind of forgetting Tennessee basketball and already out in spring football? If you're in the NCAA tournament, they're at least you're still viable in the community. But the NIT, as soon as you see those three letters, this community, see ya. We're not talking about you.
Yeah, and another factor is if you get in a tournament, you're just barely squeaking in. You'll be like an 11 seed, something like that. You're going to play a good team. So it's not going to be as embarrassing because you're not going to play a program that nobody's ever heard of. So plus, I don't see Rick Barnes' team getting blown out. They just barely. This is the first time when they lost to Kentucky on the road that they've never been in that game, this year. So.
Yeah, the hard thing about a good team, a good name. Yeah. We know they're good teams and good names because we watch a lot of basketball.
Right.
A lot of the fan base doesn't. They're looking more of their football school, and so all of a sudden you see more of that in the NIT where you can go lose to a Mercer, you can go lose to a no-name team, as opposed to basketball. Even the casual fan in basketball will say, all right, if they're in the NCAA tournament, they're good. Whereas the NIT, you're in the NIT, it's like, man, what are they?
Depends on their mood. When it was Conzo Martin. Yeah. Getting in, you better hope you don't get a play-in game, because when it was Martin, that didn't count. You weren't really in; you had to win the play-in game. And then also, you beat Mercer to get the Sweet Stick. You beat Mercer, you got a break. No, nobody pointed out that. I don't remember anybody saying. Yeah, and I don't remember anybody saying, "Well, you didn't beat Georgetown to get to the Elite Eight. You beat Ohio on that run." Mm-hmm. Upsets happen, but depending on where the mood of the fan is, they can take. They could take a real team and turn it into something bad if they want to.
And a pretty good San Diego State team with a pretty good player, Mark. How many times have you reflected on how good that guy is in San Antonio right now?
Yeah. He's pretty darn good.
And I think if you lose in the NCAA tournament by a big margin, say you get a pretty significant recruit, not too long after that, I think people forget that. And when you separate it, kind of like with a football bowl loss, the more time beyond that you go, the more people are going to lessen what that means.
Yeah, I can see there's got to be a line there at some point where you do say NIT is better than a 50-point loss in the NCAA. There's got to be some line there where you would say NIT is better, but I do think overall, it's better overall if you make the NCAA, in my opinion.
But yeah, as a coach and as a player, if somebody asks about your postseason performance, you kind of stand up tall and say, hey, we made X amount of NCAA tournaments. And then you kind of quiver up when you start talking about NITs. Yeah, I went to 5 NCAA tournaments and it was 2 NITs. Completely different mindset.
Yeah, you're talking as a coach. I started to say, if you're a player who went to 7, you would. You flounder. 0.0.
Look at my 4 CBI tournaments we got.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. Mike Griffith, Vince Ferrara, Mark Pancratz. Thanks to you. Thanks to all of our sponsors, especially Blue Smoke Cigar, who was right there. Thank you. We'll see you next Sunday at 11 on WATE 6.